I never thought revenge would taste like eggnog laced with arsenic, sweet at first, then burning all the way down. 6 months ago, they ripped my soul from my skin and shoved it into a stranger's flesh, betting I'd shatter like cheap tinsel when the truth hit. But as I sat there in Mark's broad-shouldered suit, watching my own face, his puppet now, slide those papers across the turkey platter, I realized, hell hath no fury like a woman who's worn her husband's sins like a second skin. The swap happened on a rainy Tuesday in October, the kind of Pacific Northwest drizzle that soaks your bones and blurs the line between pity and rage. I was Audrey Hale, 38, neuroscientist at Apex Dynamics in Seattle, married to Mark for 12 years, and fool enough to think our life in that glass-walled Bellevue McMansion was the American dream wrapped in a bow. Mark ran the finance side of Apex, all sharp suits and sharper deals, while his father, Victor Hale, no relation to me, thank God, loomed over the company like a silver-haired vulture, CO with a Rolodex full of senators and a conscience as empty as his third scotch. It started with the affair, or so I thought. I'd come home early from the lab, my white coat still smelling of saline and regret, and found Mark's phone buzzing on the kitchen island. A text from board meeting. Can't wait to seal the deal tonight. Your place or mine? Harmless enough if you didn't know the code. Our old inside joke from grad school days. But the reply photo? That was my sister, Elena, all red lipstick and lace, lounging on what looked like our guest room bed. Betrayal hit like a freight train, but I swallowed it. Faked a smile through dinner, watched him wolf down salmon like he hadn't just gutted me. That night, I confronted him in the walk-in closet, his ties swinging like nooses from the rack. Who's the board meeting, Mark? Elena? My own goddamn sister. He didn't even flinch, just laughed, that low, patronizing chuckle he saved for underperforming stocks. Audrey, you're paranoid. Lab fumes frying your brain again. Elena's just helping with the holidays. Lies slithered out smooth as his aftershave, but I saw the flicker in his eyes, the way he glanced at the door like Victor might burst through with bailout cash. I didn't cry, didn't scream. Instead, I waited. For weeks, I played the dutiful wife, ironed his shirts, hosted his poker nights with the Apex execs, even laughed at Victor's racist jokes about the new hires from Bangalore. All while digging. My access to the lab's secure servers was still active, a glitch in HR's firing process after that incident last spring. The incident? Oh, just a little corporate espionage rap they pinned on me. $2 million in R&D funds siphoned to an offshore account, traced back to my login. I'd taken the fall quietly, resigned before the feds could cuff me, because Mark swore it was a mix-up, that Victor would fix it. Family first, AUD, he'd whispered, kissing my temple like I was a child who'd skinned her knee. But the logs didn't lie. The transfers happened on nights I was at conferences, from Mark's IP address bounced through my terminal. And the emails? Buried in Victor's encrypted folder, a chain with Mark and Elena. Audrey's the perfect patsy, smart enough to invent the tech, soft enough to fold. The tech. My tech. Project Echo. Neural mapping for therapeutic body swaps, meant to help locked-in syndrome patients experience the world again. A prototype serum, injectable nanites that rewired synaptic pathways, swapping consciousnesses for hours, maybe days. Ethical minefield, sure, but revolutionary. And they'd stolen it. Not just the code, but the vials, to test on black market clients, laundering the profits through Apex shells. That's when the real hook sank in. They weren't just cheating, they were erasing me. Victor's emails dripped with contempt. Girl's too idealistic. Swap her out. Let Mark run the show in her skin. Insurance payout on her suicide covers the SEC fines. My suicide. Planned for Christmas Eve, our annual Hale family blowout. Elena would discover the body. Mark would grieve publicly in my form. And Victor? He'd swoop in as the broken patriarch, consolidating power while pocketing my life insurance. 5 mil, double indemnity for accidental overdose on my own damn serum. I had one vial left, hidden in my desk drawer, untraceable black market knockoff I'd scored from a shady contact in the lab's underbelly. Desperation's a hell of a drug dealer. That Tuesday, as Mark showered off his latest meeting, I palmed the syringe. Heart hammering like a jackrabbit, I jabbed it into my thigh. Then his, through the steam, while he toweled off, humming some bullshit Carol Early. The world tilted, pain like lightning forking through my skull. Then, nothing. Blackness. When I woke, it was to the mirror's cruel joke. Mark's face staring back, salt and pepper stubble, blue eyes I'd once loved now mine to command. 6'2" of borrowed muscle, a body that reeked of bourbon and entitlement. Across the vanity, my own reflection blinked. Wide hazel eyes, pixie cut gone wrong, the face that had smiled through 12 years of his bullshit. But it wasn't me. It was him. Mark Hale, trapped in Audrey's fragile frame, mouthing, "What the fuck did you do?" I, in his skin, grinned, all teeth and triumph. "Merry fucking Christmas, honey. Welcome to my world." The first days were a fever dream of adaptation. Mark's body moved like a tank, clumsy at first, my neural pathways fighting the bulk. I lumbered through apex boardrooms, signing off on deals with a baritone that commanded respect, while Audrey, the real Mark, flailing in heels and hysteria, paced our bedroom, whispering threats into a burner phone. "You'll pay for this, you bitch. Dad'll have you audited into oblivion." I laughed, deep and rolling, the sound echoing off marble counters. Audited? I'd already mirrored their offshore accounts to a dead-drop server, every dirty transfer timestamped with his digital signature. But power's a double-edged blade, especially when it's stolen. In Mark's skin, I felt the weight of his secrets like tumors. Late nights scrolling his browser history. Not just Elena's nudes, but Victor's kill list. Competitors ruined, a whistleblower suicided last year with the same serum. Controversial? Hell, it was radioactive. I debated turning it over to the feds anonymously, but every time, the mirror mocked me. "You're him now. Act like it." So I played the part. Golfed with senators, bedded Elena in a haze of guilt-fueled hate sex. Her moans tasted like ash, all while Audrey crumbled publicly. Therapy sessions I booked for her, pills I slipped into her wine. Not lethal, just enough to sell the breakdown. The family noticed. Victor's calls grew curt. "Sort your wife out, son. She's embarrassing us." If only he knew. By Thanksgiving, the plan crystallized. Christmas Eve dinner at the Hale estate in Medina, lake views, caterers and tuxes, the whole WASP parade. They'd corner Audrey, serve the papers, watch her sign away alimony in a tear-soaked haze. Then, they overdose, serum vial in her purse, staged as despair. I'd be Mark, consoling the mourners, inheriting her shares in Apex. Poetic, right? Except I wasn't signing shit. My gift? A USB drive, innocuous red bow, loaded with their digital news. Emails, transfers, even audio of Victor boasting to Mark about the whistleblower hit. One plug into the home server, and it broadcasts to every Apex shareholder, the SEC, and a live feed to CNN's tip line. But doubts not. Was I any better, puppeteering his flesh, fucking his mistress to keep cover? Elena whispered in the dark. "You're different, Mark." Harder. I wanted to confess, but revenge is a jealous god. It demands totality. As December snow dusted the evergreens, I practiced my walk in his loafers, stared into his eyes until I believed the lie. I was Mark Hale. And Audrey? She was already dead. The swap's half-life was ticking. Doc said 48 hours max before neural fatigue kicked in, synapses frying like overclocked circuits. But 48 became 72, then 90. The nanites adapted, or mutated. I stopped questioning. Elena grew suspicious, her touches lingering on Mark's arms like she sensed the ghost beneath. Victor summoned me to his office, cigar smoke curling like accusations. "Your wife's losing it, boy. Pills, paranoia. End it before she drags us down." I nodded, throat tight in his son's stolen larynx. "Soon, Dad. Real soon." Christmas Eve dawned brittle, the air crackling with Puget Sound chill. I dressed Audrey that morning, soft cashmere sweater, pearls that choked like a collar, while she raged in the mirror, my voice high and broken from her lips. "Give it back, you monster. This isn't you." I smoothed her hair, maternal almost. "It's exactly me, Mark. The you that fucked my sister, stole my life, let your father murder for profit. Merry Christmas." Then I dosed her coffee, benzos, not serum. Enough to slur her words, sell the shatter they expected. The drive to Medina was silent torture, her in the passenger seat fidgeting with the hem of her skirt, me gripping the wheel with knuckles white as bone. Victor's estate loomed like a Rockefeller wet dream. Columns, topiaries iced in lights, garage full of Teslas, and a vintage Jag. The family waited, Elena in emerald velvet, all doe eyes and deceit. Victor's second wife, Lydia, tipsy on mulled wine. Cousins and aunts, the hail machine oiled for spectacle. They bet on it. I overheard later from a bugged phone. $20, she balls through the pie. Smirks hidden behind toasts, but I saw. Always saw. Dinner unfolded like a bad remake of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Turkey carved with surgical precision, Yule logs flaming, Bing Crosby crooning Betrayal. I sat at Audrey's place, fidgeting as scripted, while Mark and me lorded over the head, toasting family resilience. Elena's foot nudged mine under the table, a signal gone sour. Victor's eyes bored into her, pity as sharp as a shiv. Then, the moment, Mark, my face, my hands, slid the envelope across the cloth, gold embossed seal glinting. Audrey, darling, it's time. Sign, and we'll make it painless. The table held its breath. Forks paused midair, champagne bubbles mocking the silence. Elena's smirk bloomed slow. Lydia tittered into her napkin. Victor leaned back, King surveying his kill. They waited for tears, for the quake in my shoulders, the sob that would validate their god complex. Bet I'd cry? Oh, I'd give them a show. But as I reached for the pen, my other hand dipped into my purse. The gift box, crimson ribbon taut. 1 SEC. I said, voice mine but laced with his gravel. I got something for you first, Mark. Lids lifted, the USB winked like a grenade pin. Their faces shifted, confusion, then greed. Elena cooed. How sweet, beauty jewelry. Victor grunted approval. I plugged it into the tablet on the sideboard, the one streaming the playlist. The screen flickered. Not carols. Files. Emails unspooling like guts. The first leak hit like a sucker punch. Victor's voice, tinny through the speakers, mid-boast to Mark last summer. The whistleblower? Handled. Echo Serum works wonders. Swapped him into a junkie. Let the OD look natural. Clean as a whistle, son. Gasps rippled. Champagne flutes clinking like alarm bells. Lydia choked on her sip, spraying mist across the poinsettias. Elena's foot jerked back, her emerald slipping off the heel with a clatter that echoed louder than the audio. Mark, trapped in my skin, lunged for the tablet, but I was faster, Audrey's slighter frame belying the fury of a man who'd planned my erasure. What the hell is this? He hissed, my lips twisting around his words. The table erupted. Victor's face purpled, veins bulging like map lines to hell. Cousins whispered into phones. Aunts fanned themselves with napkins monogrammed in gold. But I held the remote, literal and figurative, volume cranking as the next file dropped. Bank transfers, my login forged in Mark's hasty script, $2 million vanishing into Cayman shadows. You bitch, Elena spat, rising half out of her chair, wine sloshing crimson onto the cloth like an accusation. This is fake. Doctor. But her eyes darted to Mark, plea and panic mingling. I'd betted her enough in his body to know that look. The guilt fuck, the post-coital hush where truths slip. Now it broadcasted for all. Victor slammed his fist, crystal shuddering. Turn it off. Now, his command, once iron, cracked like thin ice. I smiled, my smile, on her face, and let it play. The final reel, video from Mark's hidden cam, him and Elena in our bed, plotting over champagne flutes. Dad's right, frame Audrey, swap if she fights. Insurance covers the rest. She'll never see it coming. Laughter, light and lethal, my sister's voice sealing the noose. The room froze, a diorama of shattered illusions. Phones buzzed, SEC alerts pinging live, shareholder emails flooding inboxes visible on the tablet's split screen. Victor's empire, built on bones and borrowed brains, crumbling via wireless. I stood then, Audrey's 5'4" commanding the space like a colossus. Surprised? You bet I'd cry over papers, sign away my life like the good little Patsy. But here's my gift, truth. Merry Christmas, family. Chaos bloomed. Victor roared, lunging for me, his daughter-in-law, his son's vessel. But Mark intercepted, bodies colliding in a tangle of limbs and lies. Dad, it's her. She's the one who, a slap echoed, Victor's ring catching Mark's, my cheek, drawing a thin line of red that wasn't blood but close enough to taste copper. Elena screamed, clawing at the tablet. Lydia dialed 911 in hysteria, babbling about corporate sabotage. Cousins bolted for the door, snow tires crunching gravel as they fled the sinking ship. I watched it all from the eye of the storm, heart pounding in Audrey's fragile ribs. This was the climax I'd scripted in Stolen Nights, revenge distilled to pixels and panic. But as sirens wailed distant, cops or feds, who could tell? A deeper fracture spidered through. The swap's toll, my real body, Mark's now, ached with phantom pains, synapses screaming for home. I'd pushed it too far, the nanites rebelling, visions flickering at edges. Mark's memories bleeding in, his boyhood Christmases with Victor, Elena's first betrayal at 16, a stolen kiss behind the boathouse. Was this justice, or just another theft? The feds stormed in like black-clad reindeer, badges flashing under twinkle lights. Victor blustered, lawyered up on speed dial, but the evidence was ironclad. My server mirror time-stamped, unspoolable. They cuffed him first, silk pajamas no match for zip ties. Then Mark, his pleas a whine from my throat. It's not me. Ask her, Audrey did this. Irony, thy name is Swap. Elena sobbed into Lydia's shoulder, mascara rivers carving canyons, while I stood untouched, the victim in their eyes. Ma'am, the lead agent said, notepad out, you okay? This looks like hell of a setup. I nodded, tears, real ones, welling for the first time. Not for them, but for the shell I'd become. Just wanted a quiet holiday, I murmured, voice breaking authentic. They bundled the Hales into squad cars, taillights fading into the blizzard, leaving the estate a husk of garland and regret. Elena shot me a look through the window. Hate, yes, but something sharper, recognition. As if, in that moment, she saw the stranger puppeteering her sister's skin. Back in the McMansion that night, snow muffling the world, I faced the mirror again. Audrey stared back, bruised cheek blooming purple, eyes hollow with Mark's defeat. The serum's counteragent burned in my palm, stolen from the lab weeks ago, my ace for reversal. One jab, and we'd flip back. Me in my body, him in his, facing trials as ourselves. Justice served, tidy as a Hallmark ending. But my finger hovered. In his skin, I'd tasted power, boardrooms bending, Elena yielding, Victor's fierce symphony. Controversial? To hell with it. What if I let it ride? Let Audrey rot in jail for his crimes, while I rebuilt Apex in his name, a phoenix from their ash. The debate raged internal, a civil war of conscience. American dream, right? Pull yourself up, even if it means stepping on necks. But necks that wear your face? That's the gray zone, the controversy that keeps therapists in business. Dawn crept gray through the blinds, sirens long faded. I uncapped the syringe. Jabbed. Agony again, world inverting. When it cleared, I was me, hazel eyes, pixie cut, the ache of familiarity. Across the glass, Mark blinked out, fury reigniting. You think this ends it? Dad's got pull. Will? I silenced him with a finger to his lips, my lips now. It's over. Sign the papers tomorrow. Walk away clean, or the full feed drops. Your voice, your bed, your kills. He deflated, the fight leaching out like air from a punctured tire. For the first time, I saw pity in his eyes. For me? Or himself? Weeks blurred into hearings, the kind where truth gets lawyered into half-lights. Victor lawyered up with DC fixers, painting it all as internal dispute. But the SEC smelled blood, fines stacked like Jenga, Apex stock tanking 20 points overnight. Elena flipped first, plea deal for immunity, spilling on the affair and the offshore toys. Mark? He signed, silent as a ghost, vanishing to some Caribbean bolt hole with a fraction of the settlement. No alimony fight, no custody wars, we'd never had kids, thank God. Just echoes. I kept the lab job, reinstated with back pay and a quiet apology from HR. Project Echo shelved indefinitely, ethics board citing unforeseen risks. But in quiet hours, coding neural maps, I wondered, had the swap changed me permanent? Memories lingered, Mark's swagger, Victor's ruthlessness, a shadow self that whispered, you liked it. The control, controversial decisions? Mine now. I greenlit a paper on the tech's therapeutic potential, anonymized, but with a caveat. Prolonged exposure risks identity dissolution. Proceed with caution. Spring thawed Seattle, cherry blossoms mocking the winter's grave. I dated a barista with tattoos and no skeletons, laughed at his jokes without scanning for lies. But at night, dreams swapped us all. Me and Victor's wrinkled husk, brokering deals with dead men. Elena and mine, seducing shadows. Woke sweating, the gift box's ribbon phantom in my fist. Then, the letter came. Postmarked Medina, Elena's script shaky on the envelope. Sis, Audrey, whatever you are now. I know. Saw it in your eyes that night, the way you moved. Mark told me everything before he bolted. The swap. The serum. You're a monster. No plea. No olive branch. Just a photo clipped inside. Our family portrait from last Christmas. Faces scrubbed to anonymity, but mine circled in red. Twist. Dad didn't start the fraud. You did. That first transfer? Your login, real time, while Mark slept. To save Apex from bankruptcy. We covered for you, but you turned it on us. Revenge? Or just the lie you always lived? My hands trembled, paper crumpling. The truth reversed. Not them the villains, but me the architect, the embezzlement my desperate bid to prop the empire, hidden even from myself in grief's fog. They betrayed, yes, a fair frame up, but the seed was mine. Planted in panic, harvested in hate. Debatable ending, hero or Hydra. I burned the letter in the sink, flames dancing like Yule logs. Happy? Tragic? In America, it's whatever sells the sequel. Summer hit like a hangover, sticky and unforgiving, the kind that makes you question every bad decision from the night before. Seattle sweltered under a rare heat dome, Elliott Bay steaming like a forgotten tea kettle, and I hid in the lab's chill, air thick with the hum of servers and the ghosts of what I'd unleashed. The photo from Elena's letter haunted me, edges curling in my mind like the ash in the sink, proof that the swap hadn't just stolen days. It had unearthed roots rotten from the start. Me, the embezzler? The savior turned serpent? It gnawed, a controversy I couldn't litigate in my own head. Was revenge ever clean, or just a mirror cracking under the weight of your own reflection? Apex clawed back, stock rebounding on Victor's sacrificial resignation, public mea culpa, private parachute to a Cayman consultancy. The old man vanished into exile, tabloids dubbing him the fallen eagle, but whispers followed. Backroom deals with feds, a reduced sentence for the whistleblower hit if he spilled on bigger fish. Mark? Radio silence, save for the divorce decree finalized in absentia. Our assets split like a botched lobotomy. Me with the house, him with the jag, and a lifetime alimony grudge. Elena? She lawyered up too, plea bargain netting community service and a gag order. But her eyes at the courthouse, hollow, hunted, said the real sentence was solitude. Sisters don't forgive body swaps. I threw myself into work, the neural maps a lifeline. Echo's remnants fueled a pivot, therapeutic interfaces for PTSD vets, swapping traumatic memories for neutral voids. Ethical, impactful, the kind of redemption arc that plays well in grant proposals. Colleagues clapped me on the back. Audrey, you're a phoenix, oblivious to the irony. But late shifts, alone with the glow of monitors, doubt crept. That first transfer, April 2024, Apex teetering on bankruptcy after a bad merger Victor muscled through. I'd accessed the funds not in panic, but calculation, offshore bounce to plug the hole. My login is camouflage because Marks was watched. He'd confessed it one drunken night, pre-affair. Dad's desperate, OD. We lose the company, we're nothing. I'd nodded, kissed him, then acted. Heroic, in the moment. Hubris, in hindsight. The frame-up? Their way of tying off loose ends, punishing my interference with the affair's convenience. Controversial? Damn right. In America's meritocracy myth, you save the empire, get a parade. Cross the line, even for family, and you're the villain. I debated confessing. FBI drop, full circle, but the swap's shadow whispered. They started the war. You just finished it. Power's addictive, even borrowed. I'd tasted it in Mark's veins, the ease of command, the thrill of unchecked will. Now, in my skin, it lingered like withdrawal, making every no from a funder feel like chains. The barista, Jake, was my anchor, tattoos inked with loss, brother OD'd, same serum echoes, coffee strong as his laugh. We hiked Discovery Park, salmon berries bursting tart on our tongues, his hand steady in mine. You're carrying something heavy, AUD, he'd say, tracing my knuckles like braille. I'd deflect with lab tales, sanitized, just neural puzzles. Rewiring regrets. Sex was uncomplicated, his apartment smelling of grounds and patchouli, bodies tangling without agendas. No swaps, no schemes. But mid-thrust, Elena's circled photo flashed, and I'd freeze, ghosts between us. He noticed, always. Talk to me. I couldn't. Not yet. Fall foliage turned the sound blood orange, a seasonal reminder of spilled secrets. Then, the call came. Block number. Voice gravel Victor's, but laced with fear. Audrey. We need to meet. Neutral ground. The old boathouse. Click. Heart slamming. I drove to Medina under harvest moon, wipers slapping leaves like accusations. The estate loomed dark, sold off in the settlement, but the boathouse squatted by the lake, weathered planks whispering waves. He waited inside, silhouette hunched over a lantern, no silver fox anymore, just a man, shrunken in flannel. You did this, he rasped, no preamble. Cigarette trembled in arthritic fingers, smoke curling prophetic. Ruined us. For what? Pride. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Audrey's, poise now mine innate. You framed me for your kills, Victor. Planned my suicide in my own skin. Call it evening the score. He laughed, wet and wheezing. Cancer, the tab said, stage 4. Score? Girl, you started it. That embezzlement. Your hack saved my ass, sure, but it snowballed. Mark found out. Panicked. Looped in Elena for the affair cover. The swap? Desperation. Thought if you were crazy, Audrey, no one believed your accusations. Twist upon twist, the truth inverting like a Mobius strip. Not just my sin, but a chain. My fix birthing their panic, their betrayal birthing the serum scheme. Debatable morality. Did intent absolve or amplify? He stubbed the smoke, eyes wet. I'm dying, Audrey. Real this time. No staging. Want absolution? Confess. Or take the empire's remnants, my shares, hidden. Rebuild what you broke. A folder slid across the damp floor. Deeds, accounts, enough to resurrect Apex clean. Bait or bridge? I took it, fingers numb. Drove home fogged. Jake's texts lighting the dash. Miss you. Dinner? The folder burned beside me. Potential Phoenix or Pandora's trap. In the lab next day, I ran sims. Echo variants for end-of-life swaps. Letting the dying visit loved ones one last time. Ethical gray. Comfort or cruelty? Funded it with Victor's seed money, anonymous. Controversial decisions piled like cordwood. Thanksgiving loomed. Jake's family invite a test. His mom hugged me fierce, pie crust under nails, dad grilling tales of Vietnam ghosts. No hails, no smirks, just Grace said clumsy. Football on TV static with cheers. I almost told Jake then, over cranberry relish, the swap, the serum, the sin that started it all. But words stuck, controversial even in confession. Instead, I squeezed his hand, anchored. Winter crept back, snow dusting the lab windows like forgotten sugar. Elena surfaced, email this time. Terse, therapy, learning. Miss you sorta. Don't swap again. No photo, no poison. Olive branch, brittle. I replied, same. Holidays? Neutral. Her yes came swift. Coffee shop mid-December. Her thinner, eyes wary but warm. You were different, she said over lattes, steam veiling judgment. In the dinner. Mark's fire in your frame. I nodded, spilled selective. The affair hurt, the frame worse, but the swap? Desperate play. Worked too well. She laughed, bitter. We're all monsters, AUD. Just varying degrees. Debatable truce. But Victor's gift festered. I greenlit the rebuild. New Apex, ethics first, my neural tech at core. Board nodded, investors bit. Power again, this time owned. Jake proposed on New Year's, fireworks over the Space Needle, ring simple silver. Rewire with me? Yes, breathy real. Yet, the debate lingered. Happy ending, or prelude to tragedy. In America's script, redemption's a hustle. Sell the comeback, bury the body count. I chose both, wedding in spring, Elena bridesmaid with a wary smile. Victor's funeral hit summer, sparse crowd. Me in black delivering the non-eulogy. Complicated man. Complicated legacy. His share's mine now, empire leaner, lighter. Nights, Jake slept sound, but I traced tattoos, wondering, if swapped again, whose skin would I choose? Mine, fractured but familiar. Or his, unscarred? The serum vial, destroyed, but echoes persist. Neural maps of regret, rewirable. The wedding was a quiet affair. Backyard of our Queen and Victorian. String lights tangled in madrona branches. Puget Sound murmuring benediction below. Jake in linen, Me in lace that didn't choke. Elena fussing the veil with fingers that no longer clawed. No hails, save ghosts. Victor's absence a hollow in the toasts. Marks a footnote in the settlement files. Vows exchanged simple. In sickness, in swap. Jake's grin erasing the punchline for guests. Ring slid on, cool as counteragent, sealing not just us but the fracture I'd carried since that rainy Tuesday. Honeymoon in the San Juans, ferry rocking gentle, orcus breaching like affirmations. We kayaked Dawn waters, his paddle sinking mine, no words needed. Sex on flannel blankets, salt air tangling sheets, raw, reclaiming. You're here, he whispered post-climax, palm on my sternum. I was, mostly, but the swap scar itched, neural phantom. Mark's laugh in boardrooms, Victor's growl in dreams. Jake knew fragments, affair, frame up, but the serum? That stayed vaulted, controversial cargo too heavy for our keel. Back in Seattle, Apex bloomed under my interim CEO hat. Ethics charter ironclad, Echo Therapeutics trialing for vets. First success, a Gulf War survivor, swapping trauma loops for beach walks, tears his not mine. Press hailed, hail's air turns tide, irony thick as fog. Elena visited Sundays, brunch at our place, avocado toast and apologies thawing. I was jealous, she admitted one drizzly morn, stirring sugar endless. You, the brain. Me, the arm candy. Mark. Easy mark. Forgiveness? Debatable. But blood's thicker than serum, and we rebuilt, brick by brittle brick. Spring rains fed the garden, Jake's hands dirt-black planting tomatoes, his therapy, grounding. I joined, knees muddied, but mind wandered. The folder's deeper layers, Victor's true legacy. Not just shares, a ledger, coded, hinting at more hits, more swaps. The whistleblower? First of 5, black market clients testing Echo for assassination's corporate style. Swap the mark into a vagrant, let fate finish. My embezzlement? Spark that lit the fuse, but Victor's pyromania the blaze. Confess all. Feds would dismantle Apex, my life's work with it. Bury it. Become him. The decision came nocturnal, lightning cracking over the sound. I burned the ledger in the fireplace, flames devouring sins like absolution. Controversial? In the gray dawn, yes, silence as complicity. But empires aren't built on full disclosure, they're mortared with maybes. Jake stirred, mumbling storm. I slid beside, skin to skin. Just thunder. Summer solstice, Apex Gala at the Museum of Flight. Irony in the cockpits. Us soaring on clean tech. Donors toasted, Elena on my arm, Jake charming suits. Then, the shadow, Mark, across the hangar, leaner, sun-bleached, nursing a scotch neat. No confrontation scripted, but eyes locked, his in mine, mine in his, swaps echo. He approached slow, Elena stiffening. Audrey, gravel voice, unchanged. Heard the news. Congrats. No warmth, but no venom. Jake tensed, hand possessive on my waist. Mark, neutral ground, champagne flute bridge. Settled? He nodded, gaze flicking to Elena. Hurt, old. Came in suit. Writing. Memoirs. Lie. Obvious. Truth. Probably bartending oblivion. The swap. He lowered, crowd noise cover. You kept it quiet. What? Debate flared. Mercy or manipulation? Ends with us, I said. No sequels. He searched my face, saw the fracture. You're different. Harder. Echo of Elena's dinner whisper. I smiled, Mark's ghost grin. Aren't we all? He left then, melting into the throng. No closure, but a door cracked. Jake exhaled X. Simplified. Ghost. We danced after, slow under propellers, his heartbeat sinking mine. No swaps, just steps. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting paths like confetti from a parade long over. Pregnancy test positive, blue lines stark as ledger ink. Jake hooped, spinning me in the kitchen, flour dusting from bread we'd baked. Our rewrite. Elena cried at the ultrasound, hand on my belly. Auntie Judy's. Debatable family, but functional. Winter wheeled back, Christmas Eve redux, but ours. Tree trim sparse, lights soft, no empire lurking. Jake carved ham. I set the table, place cards for 3, Elena due post feast. No gifts wrapped ominous, just books and socks. But as Bing crooned low, a knock, insistent. Mark, snow-dusted, envelope in hand. One last thing. Divorce addendum? No, Paternity papers, Elena's fling confirmed, his claim quiet. For her. If she wants. She did. Later, over pie. Tears souther than the crust. Closure, she murmured. Debatable happy, fractured but forwarding. Labor hit March equinox, storm raging biblical. Jake coached breaths, Elena held ice chips, me pushing through pains sharper than serum fire. Girl, 8 pounds, cry piercing as revelation. We named her Echo, nod to origins, hope in reinvention. No swaps in her stars. Years folded, toddler tantrums, Apex stabilized, Jake's coffee shop franchised. Elena dated cautious, Mark a holiday card ghost. Victor's grave unvisited, but his shares funded scholarships, neural access for underprivileged kids, rewriting fates early. The debate? Eternal. At Echo's 5th Christmas, her in angel wings, I watched the tree lights dance, Jake's arm heavy comfort. Revenge wiped smirks. Yes, but left questions. Was the twist my sins reveal, or the mercy I extended? Heroic restraint, or villain's vanity? In America's dark mirror, both. And in the quiet, as snow fell soft, I chose peace, debatable, but mine. We bet she'd giggle over wrapping paper, not cry. And she did, every smirk of ours genuine. The gift? Each other. Wrapped in flesh earned, not stolen.